Welcome, welcome, welcome. It's a foggy day. Boy, but Dave and I were supposed to be at a board meeting yesterday. The rain yesterday morning was something else. So we're just foggy today. But okay, Christmas is coming. Third week of Advent. And I'm going to indulge in a little more music this Sunday. And I am plugged in for those of you here last week, so no panic there. We're all set up. And they've had a market, a craft market, and the remaining stuff is down the hall. I don't know if you might want to take a look. Russ and I bought a lot of things yesterday.
Do we get in touch with them?
I don't know. We'll have to look and see. There may be a place to leave a donation. So, in fact, 100% of their stuff goes to the food bank. So it was a really worthwhile project. So now last week I showed you a lot about Christmas pageants, the reenactment of the manger scene. But I love manger scenes. Now asked to tell the Christmas story in their own words, a group of fifth graders at this church shared their basic version that we all know from, hymns and pageants, etc. And they identified the characters, of course, Joseph and Mary, a donkey, angels, stars, stables, kings, so forth, and of course baby Jesus. But as they talked about each character, one student noted this, said, it's kind of weird, kings and shepherds together. And probably it didn't happen at that same time on that same night, but that's how we depict the manger scene. Everybody's there all together. And what that meant to these kids is that from his birth, Jesus taught that we should love everyone. We should include everyone. Black, brown, white, rich, poor, cool, nerdy, gay, straight, questioning, Democrat, Republican, you name it. At our core, of course, we are one in God's love. So this manger, to me, is a view of unconditional love that defines Christ's consciousness. And it's just very succinct. It's just an indelible memory of the manger. So let's look at some mangers here. So let's see if this is going to work. That was a very, very, very sad and trying Christmas. And my sister made me this goofy manger scene. And they're all little bean bags.
Oh, that's so sweet.
And you really can't tell, but like Joseph's hair was, yarn that was going everywhere. And finally, up in the attic, I don't know, something got to the manger scene, so I don't have it today. But it was such an important part of our Christmases as we move forward. So I'm so glad I still have that picture of it. But in the manger scene too, in Unity, we can attribute every one of these characters to one of the 12 powers. The power of love just radiates from the scene. It's magnetizing because they were all drawn into this stable, this harmonizing, it's unitizing. All these different people and animals drawn to Bethlehem, drawn by love, all coming together, recognizing the harmonizing immense goodness that had come into this world. And each of the characters is unique. And so let's look at what some of them might represent. So Bethlehem itself is the power, dominion. It's also a symbol for peace, too. It's a place of peace. The manger is order. Let's see. Mary represents faith. Joseph, understanding. The shepherds represented love. Now you could arrange these in different ways if you want, but this is just one arrangement that I got. The angels, zeal. The wisdom and the wise men, of course. The star is imagination. And the gifts, gold is strength, frankincense, will, myrrh, release. And of course, the baby Jesus is the power of life. So it's all right there, all in that succinct little scene. But you know, the Christmas story was not just created by God, it was created by us. It is our story, what we created to understand that we are fully human and fully divine. So where are you in the nativity scene? Where are you? Now, the parents of those fifth graders said they learned to love without strings when they had their own children. All agreed that it was a continuing journey in which we give and receive love at deeper and deeper levels of our being. But you know, children come into this world and they have unconditional love. And I know that, you know, if you've had grandchildren or you just lived with children, the light in their eyes, the innocence, they all come with unconditional love. So what happens? But from this oneness and from this love, let's say our opening statement together. There is only one presence and one power active in my life and in the universe. God the good, the omnipotent. And we have our Christ candle lit, and we're going to light more candles today in honor of Advent. But we always have, it's always there, the love and the radiance and the light. It's always ready. It's from our center, from our essence. Well, of course, it is Advent. I didn't comment on this last week, but Rain, here's the mural. I loved it when we decorated.
I remember that tree.
Wasn't that tree spectacular?
My first Christmas was
Yeah, it was such, and you know, did anyone buy that tree in the sale? Remember I think we put it all up and had it lit so that people, I don't know who got that tree. In fact, that was more than half of what we had at the old building was Christmas ornaments. I swear.
So true. Oh my God. There were so many, and when it come time to decorate the tree here, we had to bring some in.
Yeah, right.
I have my picture next to it, but it cuts off the top of the Christmas tree. I guess the angle they took the picture.
Oh, yeah, that's true. There may have been an angel up there. But I love that we've got the mural in the background a little bit there. And I've got good pictures of it just plain anyway. So, so in this season of Advent, so we first had the season of hope and faith. And so are you perceiving a greater truth? Do you have a positive expectancy about things to come? And then the second one is peace. And so, of course, today we're going to talk about love. But Pam, I don't know, with the idea of faith, I think this is a good time for you to share what's happened to you, because you have just had to have a journey of faith. So I'm going to let you come up here and share what's happened, because it's such good news. Okay.
Well, I was in the Army and I was stationed at Desert Storm, and when I came back, I spent the next, pretty much 20 years trying to get disability, because every time I go to a job, something happened that would trigger something, and I just didn't know what it was at first. So I worked every restaurant there is around, especially like IHOP and all that, because I had to get something that was fast, because usually when I got sick, I was already fixing to be evicted. So I ended up homeless, and I found Unity in 2017, and I walked in the little library and I looked, and the very book that told me to come find Unity was sitting in that library. I was like, oh my gosh. So everybody's been so supportive, and this past year, I got a denial, and they not only denied me, they took what I already had in place for 20 years away. And so I was ready to give up. I was so sad, and it affected me, and then I started I need to go to work and do all that stuff and the timing on everything. And then I waited and waited for the answer and for the increase on something else. I waited for the answer, and then I got a thing saying that my PTSD is continued, which is a good thing, but then it said deferred. I was like, what's this? So what the heck is a deferment? So deferment means the final reviewer looked and said, yeah, we can't give her 100% on that, but there's this thing that I never knew about. I get paid like as if I have 100%. And when I found, it's been so crazy, but
You got the letter this
yeah.
week.
And then,
So what happened?
The final paperwork that we need to put in for just this 100%, and we didn't even have to put in like a claim. They deferred me, so they needed two things, and that was a letter from my psychiatrist and a letter from a former employee. And my friend wrote a wonderful letter. I work for her, and my therapist, they should put that as a prime example of what needs to be done for these
Cases, yeah.
and that was Wednesday. And then on the 10th, I looked, because you can look online to see if it went through and stuff like that, and I saw on the 10th, I was like, oh my God, it said you have been granted 100% unemployability. I was so blown away. And then looked further down, it said pay date. I was like, it said January 1st,
2024.
So I'm like, what is that?
So you got back pay.
And then I looked and they said it was granted December of 2023. So my first payday was, I've actually been getting paid every single day that I've worked this year. And it was life-changing, to say the least. But there's been so many times that I just want to give up. I haven't had them, do anything good in the past years, but it turned out all the bad things that I went through, there's not reasoning. It was supposed to be that way. For me to learn, and for me to learn to back off. And then Astor, he was telling us some affirmations one night, and he said, there isn't anything you need to do that you haven't already done. See, I kept thinking, I have to do something. No, I didn't. Because it was working its own way out. And
But you did write Silent Unity, or you?
yes. And I wrote Silent Unity about 6 months ago, and when I had found out, right before I called the room, I looked down and an envelope. My mail was there, and then an envelope was half open, and I was like, why didn't I finish opening it? So I opened it up, and it was my letter from Silent Unity. And I would not even be standing here if it wasn't for my Unity family. There's just no way I wouldn't have bet on me. I would not have bet on me. I came from Cabot in 2007 to Little Rock to go to rehab because I was addicted to meth at 36. And
So here you are, Pam.
And the odds of it, my 3 friends that I did it with, we're all together now. One lives like a mile away from me, and they're doing amazing. It's just, the odds are astronomical. Like, this was 16, 17 years ago, so. And
It's so wonderful.
I'm just so grateful. And so I did get a year's back pay. So now, my brother even did my budget and everything. I'm like actually looking at for a new car right now. Well, new to me car, I don't care what year it is, I don't care. But we actually actively went and looked at them. I got to sit in them. And what was really funny is the kind of car I wanted was like a mixture of all the ones, and I didn't know. I've never looked for a car. I don't know what my favorite car is. I never thought I was gonna get one. And then I pulled up in the thing, and every single car was representative. There was the Toyota, and then there was the Prius, and so I videotaped them and sent it to my brother. I was like, yes. So ever since then, it's just been, thank you. look at all the stuff that wouldn't have happened had I not put down that fight that day. Mind you, for my little puppy dog, I did. And I had him for 16 years.
Oh, yeah.
And I couldn't take care of him, and I really couldn't take care of me. And I said, I can't do this to you.
So, yay, yay. So, but what struck me is through this year, you know, your faith, you just stayed positive, and we kept doing the next thing. We talked about that last week, and but really, or not doing it. It was already in place.
Because that's how I felt all my life, and that's how they made me feel.
And love. Well, all right, obviously, so our daily word today is love. And it's on my Advent journey, I abide in love. And one of the most beloved verses of Scripture calls me to recognize love as the greatest spiritual blessing. Today, I will take the words of the Apostle Paul to heart and abide in love everywhere. To the marketplace, I spread my warmth with kind interactions with clerks and fellow customers. At meetings, whether work or social, I offer words of cheer and encouragement that greet everyone as a beloved child of God. I express my love in moments of unconditional appreciation to all people. And so Paul said, and now faith, hope, and love abide. These three, and the greatest of these is love. So here's a beautiful song. So I played that last night and I teared up. You should play it. Maybe not here you'd feel it that way, but it is really an emotional song. It's so beautiful. So now let's have our Pam and Michael. We're going to help. And if the boys want to light the candles, we're not going to light them right away. But let's see. I'm going to get and they don't have to. But they can if they want to. Fire. Okay. Okay. So I'm going to let you. It's not right this second. So Pam, you're up first.
Okay. Where?
No, you've got it on there. It's the green. You're the green.
Okay. The microphone or?
Oh yeah. I'm sorry.
Oh, I did that over.
There we go.
All right.
Love. The third candle represents love and is symbolized by the baby Jesus himself. Jesus is the representation of boundless and unconditional love. When we are established fully in hope and faith, peace and joy, we are able to extend the experience of love to ourselves and therefore to the rest of God's creation. It is through the union of wisdom represented by Joseph, compassion represented by Mary, that the love and light of God can come into the full experience of our world.
Okay.
As in any birth, the mother is the foremost personality. Mary pondered God's truths in her heart. She is like the emotions in each of us, for when we are full of love, we can receive the inspiration of the Holy Spirit. Joseph was of royal lineage and represents our mind, our intellect. When our mind is filled with thoughts of God, we give our consent for miracles to happen. When the emotions are loving, Mary in us, and our minds are filled with the affirmations of God, Joseph in us, then the miracles we seek, the Christ Spirit in us, is born at that time. It can be Christmas, and it can happen for us many times each and every day. Loving feelings and love-filled thoughts will produce genuine love in our lives. Christmas is about love in the Holy Family, and that same love can make our family holy as well. God's love blessed Mary and Joseph with a child, and their love helped Jesus to be a great spiritual leader. Love can also be the light of our family. As we fill our minds and our hearts with love, good can be born in us and with those we love.
So now you go to green.
All right. This is the third week of Advent season. The candle we light today represents love. Through our Christ consciousness, we express love from within. Each new day is another step on our journey, and like Mary, the mother of the Christ child, we choose to express as love.
Okay. So boys, okay. Now you need to light this one back here. Okay. And you may want to let your brother do one too. Let's see. There you go. There you go. Yeah, it's catching. There. Okay. Let your brother do one.
So I just light one of them?
Well, you light that one. And then we're going to light the pink one. Okay. You're going to get to do the pink one. Okay, now we got to hold it for a while because it's got a little wax on it. I think you got it. Yes. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank y'all.
And so, Michael,
As we light our candle of love, let us ignite a deeper understanding of the gift of love we are in this world. We express love because we are love. The love that is God expressing in our world and in our lives.
so together, so Pam, scoot aside for a little bit. Together we say, we share our true nature during this time of Advent. Divine love expresses through us and as us in all we think, do, and say. We choose to share love with all who come into our lives. We express our love, our peace, faith, and joy. So, above all else, clothe yourselves with love, which binds us all together in perfect harmony. That's also from Paul in Colossians. Ah, yes, yes, yes. So let us, as we've lit the candles, we've acknowledged the symbolism and the meaning, let us bring that into our hearts in prayer. And as we unite in prayer together this morning, on this foggy morning, we will relax with the rhythm of our breath. We feel the rhythm of our heartbeat. We open our hearts just for a moment in this perfect now moment. No worries, no fears. We allow the power of affirmative prayer. We're so grateful for this story, for Pam's story of affirmative prayer and action. Oh. And we celebrate the spirit of Christmas, the spirit of Christ consciousness through this prayer. We pray in celebration of the truth of who we are. God is divine substance, the idea that contains all the ideas. Whatever we desire is actually already here. There is nothing we need to do. There is an unchangeable, inexhaustible supply of divine ideas, of faith and love and peace and wisdom and imagination and strength. I am these powers and more. And on this day of Advent, love is always calling us higher. It beckons us to expand our compassion and our understanding and to treat others as we would be treated. When we live in love, we are radiating that Christ essence from us. And on this third Sunday of Advent, love is also a call to a kind of action. Not a busy action, but an action, an invitation to perceive the world from the awareness of my divinity and live the love that I am. So I'm going to stay grounded in the fact that I am 100% divine and I am 100% human. I consciously send forth love as kindness, gentleness, compassion. I radiate love just simply using kind words and actions, and my loving impulses reach far and wide to spread light. I can create magical and transcendent moments. I allow the sense of peace and love to just overwhelm me at certain moments, knowing from deep within that no matter how things appear, truth and love and hope abide this Christmas tide. I receive love graciously and reflect it to the world. I appreciate this annual celebration of light and faith and peace and joy, and I am grateful to share my celebration with this community on this Advent journey in 2024. Oh, I am grateful, and so it is. So y'all are getting Jeannie's favorite hits today. I love that song too. So, love and light, love and light. Now I gotta tell you, I'm gonna confess. So I'm getting up this morning and people, like last night and today, this morning, they were calling, I can't come. And I just started having a pity party, and I'm going, well, no one's gonna be there. What am I gonna do? And I said, all right, come on, go. Now, just think if I had missed this Sunday. I hadn't seen Charlotte in a while. I wouldn't have heard Pam's story. Betty brought a poinsettia. All of you, and I let the boys light the candles, and that was fun. I mean, really, you guys, you light me up. Y'all, and then I feel the light coming from me. And it's when we're together. Zoom is okay. But when we gather, it is really something else.
This is our first Christmas in a long time that we had kids.
Yeah, wasn't that fun? But I've got to tell you something about Love and Light. How many of y'all have ever signed a text, Love and Light, for a prayer, or signed a note? Yeah, we say that, don't we? It's almost got the same impact as thoughts and prayers, I mean, I know we really mean it, but it comes off a little like it could be a spiritual bypass, like when we fail to acknowledge the darkness and we just say, we just skip it over to love and light. But we can allow the darkness to be dark without fixing anything or covering up or commiserating or even sympathizing. See, all those things, that fixing, that commiserating, that's what in NVC, nonviolent communication, we call empathy blockers. They work for like a second, but they don't really work. What really works is real listening, seeing the person, and then having full compassion and empathy. Because if you've really listened and you've really acknowledged, you've seen and attuned with somebody, then love and light is actually transformational medicine. So I love these words from that song, green and silver, red and gold, a story born of old, truth and love and hope abide. It's sort of a Christmas mantra. As challenging and unsettling and difficult as this year, several things in this year has been, remember this, that we're resilient, we're loved, we can be lifted up. The love of Christ will light your face and shine from it into a darkened world that needs the light. That's a quote from A Course in Miracles. So I love that. The love of Christ will light your face. And I don't know if you've ever felt that. I feel it a lot. I can feel the light in my eyes, in my smile. I'm talking about a smile in a bit. So, now this year's Advent book is Be Not Afraid. I've really enjoyed it. And one thing, if you're reading it this week, there's going to be something on love. And it says, in these moments that we recall that divine love is ever present, not only in radiant, joyful experiences, but also in those depths of darkness. It is ready to accompany us and envelop us in the loving embrace of God. It invites us not to fear, but just simply to stride forward with love, assured that every bit of uncertainty, pain, or shadow will pass. Love's radiant light will once again illuminate our hearts, ushering in a new Christmas within us. Pam, I'm going to pick on you today, but I think you just kept going forward and assured that it was going to pass. There was just something about you, I knew that you knew that.
I felt so much love and support from everybody, everywhere I turned.
Yeah.
I mean, my life is like, from painting to everything. Unity has brought forth to my life more than I could ever expected. Entire life. Like, if you would have told me this 10 years ago, that I was.
So very prosperous in your support and love, right? So now another book that I've read in Unity is The Trip to Bethlehem, and I love her name, but it's really she's about Hypatia Hasbrook. Hypatia, but Hypatia. She looked at the literal trip to Bethlehem, and then she looked at the metaphysical trip. And this is a Unity book. So, and let's see, what is it on there? So the spiritual metaphysics is the search for truth as it applies to humanity in relationship to the source of all that is in the total cosmic process. And so she says we preserve these searches in fables and legends and myths. And in a way, I showed the manger. I mean, that's just a representation. It probably never happened that way, but it's the way that we see it. It's the archetypes and the fables and the stories that we've created. And the greatest value of the story lies in what the elements symbolize and stand for. The Christmas story probably was told by Gentile converts as they tried to understand how such a remarkable man as Jesus could be. So birth myths about heroes and demigods, they called on these birth myths, and it was normal for that time because a remarkable person was the union of a god and a mortal female, if you think about Greek mythology and the Romans. So the earliest mention of the birth of Jesus was in a letter from Paul back in 56 or 57 CE. The early Christians did not celebrate the birth of Christ until actually about the 3rd century, and usually it was in January. The celebration was not widespread until the 4th century when church leaders chose December 25th. This allowed former pagans to retain their winter solstice festival of light while changing the reason for it. So as time passed, the church leaders then blended the gospel stories into all this. And that was really kind of a smart decision. So we're going to use what you guys are familiar with, and then we're going to blend it all together. So it seemed to have been a wise and symbolic choice, celebrating the increase in light. See, that's the thing. They use that idea of the increase in light, because if you think about it, December 25th is just after the solstice, and the days are going to start to get longer, right? So, and then we work our way towards Easter in the spring, and then the fullness of that. So, but this symbol was a triumph of the sun over darkness. So while Christmas was celebrated for years on this date, Richard Rohr, who's a Franciscan monk and a Catholic priest, tells us that in the first 1,200 years of Christianity, the really great feast, hands down, was Easter. That everyone was all about the resurrection. And then the Francis of Assisi came along, and the Franciscan order, and they popularized the Christmas feast. Francis of Assisi went kind of crazy on this feast. It said they popularized it. Excuse me. They wanted to show that before the resurrection, there was incarnation. Now, if you really think about it, the fact that God allowed this incarnation, that was real love. That was where the love was. The love that was shown by Spirit becoming flesh and taking on materiality, physicality, and humanity. Wow, that was a brave thing to do. We typically see things pretty much in their physicality and materiality, but we don't see the light shining through. We don't see the incarnate Spirit that is hidden inside the material. So as I said, St. Francis went wild over Christmas. He said every tree should be decorated with lights to show that it's filled with light anyway. So that was partly where this comes from. We lit the trees with candles, and there was probably a lot of light at the time, a festival of light. And the Franciscans made it very clear that the incarnation was actually a universal principle. It was not just God became Jesus, but it was that God said yes to the material universe. He said yes to physicality. They understood the mystery of incarnation in a universal sense. That's the eternal Advent. It's always Advent. We're always waiting to see Spirit revealing itself through matter. We're always waiting for matter to become a new kind of apparition in which the Spirit is actually revealed. Whenever that happens, we are celebrating Christmas. So we're out in nature and we see the beauty, but we see beyond just the physicality of it and the beauty of it that expresses. Or in moments of stories like what you've shared this morning, we see what's underneath it, beyond it. We see the light shining. So Rohr wrote a book, The Universal Christ. He's written many, many books that I love. And he said that whenever the material and the spiritual coincide, there is the Christ. See, I think I have this one on. Yes. Jesus fully accepted the human divine identity, and he walked it into history. Henceforth, the Christ comes again whenever we are able to see the spiritual and the material coexisting. In any moment, any event, or any person, he is forever, continually breaking into history. And I think his views are actually so consistent with unity. All right, now this is getting a little in the weeds on technical stuff, but Paul Hasselbeck would be real proud that I've shared this with you. Okay, so we've got Jesus, we've got the Christ, we've got Jesus Christ, and we've got Christ Jesus. It's all four different ways to look at it. So clearly Jesus is the name of the man from Nazareth, the personality. But metaphysically, it's the aspect of every person that first realizes there's more to me than just a body and a personality. Christ is the universal divine idea that abides in each of us. Our hope of glory. Christ is our hope of glory. That is God being projected into visibility as you, as me, as us. Jesus Christ is the individual who most fully expressed his Christ. He was our way shower. It is the conscious union of the Christ idea and the Jesus activity in the human consciousness. So that's where we get this 100% human and 100% divine. Christ Jesus is the idea that is being expressed by individuals as a result of their faith and understanding of truth. So there's four major ideas there. Now, one more, and then I got this quote from Sister Elia Delio, and she's a Franciscan sister, and she said it so well. We can read the history of our 13.7 billion year old universe as the rising up of divine love incarnate, which bursts forth in the person of Jesus, who reveals love's urge toward wholeness through reconciliation, mercy, and peace. And forgiveness, excuse me. And forgiveness. And she said more than that. Let's see if I want to. I think that's enough. I've got her full quote. But she says, we are to be the homemakers of love in a world of change. Christian life or spiritual life is a commitment to love, to give birth to God in one's own life, and to become midwives of divinity in the evolving cosmos. We are to be homemakers of love in a world of change. Well, as I was pulling all this together, I said, stop, wait, wow, I'm really going down some rabbit holes here. It's so fascinating when you look at all of this and then want to follow the threads and expand your ideas of what you know to be a simple story of Advent, of the manger. So Paul Hasselbeck has said that Christ is the idea that contains all the ideas. When I start thinking about any aspect of this world, this creation, I see the Christ behind that. And I don't know how to put this in words, but you know, you look and the Christ is behind that, and behind that, and behind that. It's been forever. The Christ is in the substance that we all come from. And I see the beginning. In the beginning was the Word. The Christ is eternal. It has always been. For me, that means that love and light have always been. So we focus on the manger scene at this time, but the love and light will always be present. It is my essence. And so this is something that we say, can almost be as trite as love and light. Because I remember in Bible school and all, we said this all the time, especially coming out of the 60s, love, peace, and happiness, right? But for God so loved the world that he gave his only son. And really, when interpreted through a metaphysical lens, it signifies a universal, unconditional love emanating from a divine source that comes from all of creation, not just humanity, suggesting that God's love is a fundamental force permeating the very source of reality. Although it's hard to see that sometimes, I know, it offers always the potential for spiritual connection. So, and then I found this from Thich Nhat Hanh. In fact, this is a funny. I bought this book in I went to a wonderful bookstore in Oakland, I think it was, and he had a whole little series of little books, and this is Thich Nhat Hanh, How to Smile. I bought this for my daughter. I don't know if it's going to go over well, but I wanted her to realize she can concentrate on smiling. It is. It's a good place to start. But in the opening of the book, it says, we have a lamp inside us. The oil of that lamp is our breathing, our steps, and our peaceful smile. Our practice is to light up the lamp. And he adds that the smile is the simplest thing that you can do. And it is really true. If you smile, it really does change your mood. It really does. So what can we bring to the manger to be the Christ? And I read this. We can bring, I was watching late at night. I was watching The Bishop's Wife with Cary Grant and Loretta Young. And at the very end, the bishop changes all his demeanor and his mind, and he offers that. What can we offer? What can we bring to the manger? And he said, loving kindness, a warm heart, a stretched out hand of tolerance, and a smile. It's just that simple. So as I was going down the rabbit hole and trying to give y'all all this metaphysical stuff, I thought, no, it's just that simple. It's just that simple. And I also got a quote this morning from A Course of Love, and it's offered some very practical advice. If you respond as who you truly are, you respond with love. Love is the only response. The response of love can look as different as the events, situations, people, and places that populate your world. You are being in relationship. The creator, you're the creator of events as well as the experiencer of events. The creator of relationship as well as the relationship itself. But responding as you truly are. Now there's something behind that. That's not as simple as that sounds. And I'm going to close with this wonderful poem that I know that you can't see here. I will send this to anybody because it's a wonderful poem. It's called Because. And I was really shocked at how young the poet was that wrote it. So I can't save the world, can't save even myself, can't wrap my arms around every frightened child, can't foster peace among nations, can't bring love to all who feel unlovable. So I practice opening my heart right here in this room and being gentle with my insufficiency. I practice walking down the street heart first. And if it is insufficient to share love, I will practice loving anyway. I want to converse about truth, about trust. I want to invite compassion into every interaction. One willing heart can't stop a war. One willing heart can't feed all the hungry. And sometimes, daunted by a task too big, I tell myself, what's the use of trying? But today, the invitation is clear to be ridiculously courageous in love, to open the heart like a lilac in May, knowing freezing is possible, but opening anyway, to take love seriously, to give love wildly, to race up to the world as if I were a puppy, adoring and unjaded, stumbling on my own exuberance, to feel the shock of indifference, of anger, of cruelty, of fear, but stay open, to love as if it matters, and as if the world depends on it. So.
Jeannie,
Yes.
could I say one more?
Yes.
Say something about
Yes.
a smile?
Yes.
That it is true that the body responds with all these chemicals.
It does, doesn't it?
The body responds with wonderful chemicals like serotonin, dopamine, all of that good stuff with just a smile. It does, and even, this is astounding to me, even if we don't mean it, our body still does it.
It doesn't know.
Our brain, hypothalamus puts forth all these great chemicals, so it's just a wonderful antidepressant. You just smile.
Okay.
Smile a lot, and you'll feel a lot better.
That's wonderful. Thank you, Betty. Oh, my. Well, I'm seeing how the time is getting away from us. Let's just do a really brief little meditation just to get into some silence. Let me put this down. Thank you, Betty. And you can smile while you're meditating if you want. So get in touch with our breath. Calm. Breathing in and breathing out and connecting between the physical and the spiritual. Yes. Faith is my ability to see what cannot be seen. I activate this spiritual power, courageously perceiving a greater truth than what is appearing around me. I take deep breaths and I come to my heart center and I just let peace well up and love. A quiet energy courses through me. I pause and feel and sense this peace. It is really your awareness of your divine nature. I sense the harmony of my whole body structure. I smile. I feel the flood of good stuff. Being centered in the heart comes from deep listening. No matter what the question, I go into the stillness and my heart gives me guidance. I just simply accept and allow. In the stillness, the wisdom of the heart guides me with clarity and generosity of spirit. I actually might discover new ways of being love in action. So let's just enjoy this song as we close out.
Late in the evening, when everything
on around, everybody, if you want to. So we say, the light of God surrounds us. I am light.
I am light.
The love of God enfolds us. I am love.
I am love. The
Power of God protects us. I am power.
I am power.
The presence of God watches over us. I am presence. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well, and I am divine. Let's see if it's going to do. Wait. Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me. Let there be peace on earth, a peace that was meant to be. With God as creator, united all are we. Let us walk with each other in perfect harmony. Let peace begin with me. Let this be the moment now. With every step I take, let this be my joyous vow. To take each moment and live each moment in peace eternally. Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin